Welcome to Kaumudi Global. We all support a strong mission to make people realize that menstruation is normal and no taboos should be associated with it. But on the same time, it is a truth that menstruation is a time when women are physically and mentally exhausted. Mood swings along with body aches also bother women during this time. So, how does such a time come about for an athlete? What if you also have to compete during your period days? There is no doubt that it will adversely affect the performance of the competition. Wimbledon or the championships is the most popular and oldest tennis tournament in the world. Yes, it is now about 145 years old. The rules and regulations, renowned players associated with it, its dress code, etc. still remains unique and is regarded as most prestigious. Competitors must be dressed in suitable tennis attire that is almost entirely white. This is Wimbledon's rule. White clothing has been mandated for a variety of reasons, which includes association with luxury and the more practical benefit of covering sweat stains better than colored fabric. But the latest reports about the dress code just makes things so relevant in a global context. As such, menstruation has become a hot topic on the Wimbledon tennis court. But the question that arises in the court is how the women players are playing during menstruation is obliged to wear white clothes while playing. That is, how the white dress code tradition has forgotten women players and her periods. Quen Wen Sang, a Chinese tennis player, opened this conversation by describing how her loss to Iga Swiatek at the French Open was impacted by her menstruation pains and cramps. After this, tennis announcer Catherine Whitaker told The Telegraph if they had a clothing policy that affected men in the way that it does with women, I don't think that particular tradition would last. I cannot imagine going into the biggest day of my life with my period and being forced to wear white clothes. While Rio Olympic champion Monica Puig was mentioned in the same article discussing the emotional hardship of wearing white at Wimbledon and having hoped beforehand that she wouldn't have her period at that time. Whitaker also voiced concerns about the enforcement of women's restroom break lengths in between matches. Athletes are now speaking out against this white custom more and more, with some even saying that anxiety about leaking through while wearing white lost them matches. Menstruation is never talked about as a possible factor in discussions about top seeds losing in the women's draw. Monica Puig reacted to this tweet that this is definitely something that affects female athletes, finally bringing it to everyone's attention. Not to mention the mental stress of having to wear all white at Wimbledon and praying not to have your period during those 2 weeks, she added. Once I had to leave the court in the middle of a game due to my periods. The next few days were spent in fear that the bloodstains on my white clothes would come out as photographs in the next day newspaper. Australian star Rainey Stubbs says female players often talk about periods and related subjects in the locker room and use extra large tampons and extra pads to get through the first few days of their periods. It should not be the job of female athletes to change this problematic impression that menstruation is shameful and should be addressed privately in a nation where generations of women have been conditioned to believe this. It is a very genuine source of fear, embarrassment and distress for players, which has the potential to impair their performance, which is, according to professional tennis players Tatiana Golovin, a Russian-French player, and Renee Stubbs, a player who has competed at Wimbledon 3 times in her career. Meantime, Tennis players along with netizens are airing their anger with Wimbledon's strict dress code, calling the idea that women could have to cover their periods with sexist and old-fashioned white clothing. On the other side, it is really an appreciable thing that tech is being incorporated into sportswear by leading sports companies like Adidas to help with periods. Let's see, will these raising period concerns be the end of Wimbledon whites? I am Shreya signing out. If you like the video, please subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates.